families. You know, closure for those families that might not know where their loved one went missing or how they died.
These are people that have families looking for them.
Sergeant Shannon Jones of the Detroit Police Homicide Unit is a leading force in what is called United, which stands for Unknown Names Identified Through Exhumation and DNA. Families of missing people have given police their DNA, hoping it will help find a relative's DNA in the system. But before 2013, DNA was not always collected from Jane Does and John Does who passed away. Last year, the project started with the exhumation of unidentified homicide victims.
This year, we're focusing on all the other cases where it may be a person from a house fire, it may be somebody that drowned, it may be somebody that was just found deceased in a park that we have recovered.
There are about 100 unidentified people still buried without DNA in the system at different cemeteries. Sergeant Jones says last year's exhumation allowed her to tell a man whose mom went missing in 1987 that after she left for the store, she didn't abandon him. She was the victim of a homicide.
I can't express, you know, when you see somebody's face and they're crushed, but they're happy at the same time. You're telling them, we have your mom, you know, we have your loved one, and that chapter is closed. Now we're proceeding with that family on the next steps.
That case remains under investigation, and investigators are hoping to bring answers to more families between today, tomorrow, and the next day. They plan to exhume 26 bodies and hope to identify them and find their families. Reporting live in Canton, Kim Russell, 7 Action News.
And bring closure and hopefully some healing. Kim, thank you. Alan.
Right now, we are tracking the threat of storms in your 7 First Alert forecast, the chance for severe weather over the next few days.
We're going to get to Chief Meteorologist Dave Rexroth to see when we face the biggest risk.
Yeah, it's a stormy pattern that's setting up, and I thought we would have had some of it this morning. If you watch carefully, you'll see out here by Battle Creek, the last of the showers and thunderstorms from overnight in the morning are going away. The pattern set up, instead of coming from Wisconsin toward us, it was a little bit more south than southeast. That pattern is going to shift now to the northeast, and so this whole line that originates a lot of the storm action the next 24 hours or so is going to be more sliding into our area than missing us like it did overnight tonight. There's a warm front tomorrow, so early in the morning and also late in the afternoon, especially on the northeast side, we have chances for showers and storms that could be severe. We're going to talk more details on that, the timing and the threats, plus Hurricane Laura setting its sights on Texas and Louisiana. Updates on that as well. Weather apps can help you out in the WXYZ app. You can zoom in on the radar and see what's going on for the next several days around here. Radar also lets you take a look at the tropics and those hurricanes coming into the Gulf.
All right, Dave, we'll see you in a few. Now to the latest in the coronavirus fight. Today, the state announcing 779 new COVID-19 cases, pushing Michigan's total to more than 98,000. 20 additional deaths were also announced, but 6 of those are from a vital records review. So far, more than 6,400 Michiganders have died from the disease.
In just a few weeks, we'll be thrown into flu season.
Yes, Governor Whitmer is making a big push for everyone to get a flu shot this year.
7 Action News reporter Brian Abel is live in Livonia with more on why the state is making this push. Brian?
Well, Alan, Glenda, the flu shot, it is available now, and the Whitmer administration says getting one ahead of flu season is just another step of doing your part to fight COVID-19.
Literally the easiest thing I will do today.
Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer announcing a new push by the state to bump up flu shot use ahead of this year's flu season to help with hospital capacity amidst a potential second wave in the COVID-19 fight.
When we all get our flu vaccine, we can help keep thousands of flu patients out of the hospitals and prevent overcrowding.
The governor stating CDC estimates of roughly 740,000 Americans hospitalized from the flu last season, with Michigan in 2018 ranking 38 out of the 50 states for people getting the flu vaccine.
Influenza has the power to infect millions.
The state launching the Facing the Flu Together campaign with a target of 1 million more Michiganders vaccinated than last year, a 33% increase.
The flu vaccine does not cause the flu. There are some people whose bodies may respond to the flu vaccine with mild body aches or a runny nose. That is not the flu. That's your body mounting an immune response so it can fight off the flu. The flu vaccine prevents anywhere from 40 to 60% of cases of the flu every year.
A mother who lost a daughter to a vaccine-preventable disease with a stark message.
Please know that protecting yourself and others against influenza will save lives.
And flu.gov is the place to go to find out where you can get a flu shot, such as CVS here. Of note, also, Detroit area still seeing the highest case rates according to the state. And just last week, 70 outbreaks that are being investigated, Alan. And for the first time, the state is putting that investigative information on its coronavirus website. Reporting live, Brian Abel, 7 Action News.
And we all have to do what we have to do to protect ourselves and the people around us. All right, Brian, thank you.
Yes, we do. Thank you, Alan. Okay, the Detroit Public School Community District will allow some schools to do remote learning if there aren't enough teachers willing to head back to the classroom. That is the latest from the district superintendent, Dr. Nikolai Vitti. 7 Action News reporter Darren Cunningham spoke to a mother about this issue.
Some parents say they don't mind sending their kids back to Detroit Public Schools Community District for face-to-face instruction. Others say remote learning is the way to go for now.
I definitely prefer the virtual learning just because I don't feel like it's safe enough just yet to send her back. But I don't knock anybody else's decision to send their child back because, like I said before, some people don't have an option.
Jessica Unisi says her 9-year-old daughter Naima attends Coleman A. Young Elementary. She's preparing to start the year learning remotely. Today, the school district is offering training to parents on how to operate the virtual learning platform, which Unisi says she plans to participate in. And just yesterday, the district superintendent said individual schools will have the option to switch to remote learning if there aren't enough teachers willing to physically return to class.
I like that they're giving them that option because they have to have a say too. It's not just the parents' choice.
The announcement came the same day teachers and students held a protest, saying they aren't prepared for face-to-face instruction, and in support of the Detroit Federation of Teachers, the union, authorizing a potential safety strike.
I feel like we all are missing what should be happening right now. We are still in the middle of a pandemic. Like, we got to show each other some brotherly love. And we all should be trying to look out for one another.
The district says negotiations with the union are ongoing. In Detroit, Darren Cunningham, 7 Action News.
Darren, thank you. Civil rights concerns.
Why some community leaders are worried about the longtime Detroit officer now overseeing the Michigan Department of Civil Rights.
Summer camps were scheduled to begin June 15th here at Joe Dumars Fieldhouse in Shelby Township, but the doors never opened. Coming up, I'll tell you why and why they may never open again.
I'm Carolyn Clifford. Coming up only on 7 Action News at 6, white boy Rick breaking his silence.
I'm working on a few good things. I'm very passionate about what I'm working on.
You will hear from Rick Wershey for the first time since his release, what he's sharing with our Simon Shaykhet about his plans for the future, what he says needs to be done with the criminal justice system, plus why he's calling out an international media outlet. We'll have this story and so much more coming up all new tonight on 7 Action News at 6. Stick around and join us.
All right, Carolyn, we'll see you then. After 25 years helping millions of young athletes in Macomb County, Joe Dumars Fieldhouse is closing its doors.
And it's just another casualty of this pandemic. 7 Action News reporter Jennifer Ann Wilson says the Fieldhouse is not only permanently closed, it's also liquidating.
Summer camps would have begun June 15th. And these summer camps have been going on for so long. My siblings all participated in them. And now, moving forward, Joe Dumars Fieldhouse here in Shelby Township will be permanently closed. From basketball to volleyball to adventure camp and so much more, Joe Dumars Fieldhouse in Shelby Township was started 25 years ago by NBA All-Star player Joe Dumars and 2 partners.
With the idea of building a place where people could feel like pros and and really lean into community recreation.
This field house hosted more than 1 million people a year for 25 years, providing athletic programs for millions of Macomb County youth you just couldn't find anywhere else. Then came COVID-19.
I think the indeterminate nature of the length of that closure put a burden on our lease there.
After decades, Joe Dumar's field house on Mound Road north of M59 is saying goodbye, announcing the liquidation of the facility's assets this week, which makes it clear this is really happening.
We're having an open house Saturday and Sunday.
From the basketball floor to the trampoline to arcade games, athletic gear, bar taps, it's all for sale. The decades of memories made in this field house are priceless.
We also share in their disappointment that this chapter is closing.
This may have some of you wondering about the Joe Dumar's location in Detroit. At this point, they are planning on reopening once they are allowed to reopen. We'll continue following that for you. I'm Jennifer Ann Wilson, 7 Action News.
Tough loss for the community. Thank you, Jennifer Ann. We're going to turn to the forecast now. Live look over downtown Detroit. We see that boat getting down the river there. We could be in for some severe weather, though, in the next few days.
Let's send it over now to Chief Meteorologist Dave Rexroth with more. Dave?
Yeah, the storming pattern is setting up. We missed the storms. They stayed to our southwest this morning, but that whole thing is shifting closer to us now. And so that means there are more opportunities. Matter of fact, early and late tomorrow, again Thursday, again Friday night. So again, a little bit of a stormy pattern here. We need some rain desperately in a lot of spots. Just don't want to have the rough stuff with it. This is a look at the rain opportunities now through the early and late storms tomorrow. Notice concentrated on the northeast side, not so much on the southwest side of the area. That makes a lot of sense. Looking at the information coming in from the west, the farther north you get, the better chances of having be quite a bit. As a matter of fact, an inch plus in Port Sanilac. Well, there's not a whole bunch here in the northern suburbs. That's the first couple of rounds. This is the setup now. Again, we're getting to this pattern where there's more energy coming in. If you look at this and think about this as the storm energy, it starts moving more to the east into our area, and that means the opportunity is there. So on Wednesday, early, the yellow area says a slight risk of severe storms. Doesn't mean there have to be, but there's an opportunity there with the energy, and that lasts into the afternoon as well. So kind of a 1-2 punch possible on Wednesday. Then on Thursday, notice the area shifts much more widespread across our region here as a lot of heat and humidity come in. I think it's going to be 92 on Thursday. Feel like the mid 90s at least. All that energy is building up. So Thursday, there's a cold front hanging around with that energy into Friday and Friday night as well. So again, a stormy pattern shaping up. 83 feels like 83. There's less moisture in the air today, less mugginess. That's nice. Humidity's down to 46% now with the northwest wind at 8. It's only temporary, but I guess we'll take it when we got it. 86 is the temperature in Lapeer. Same thing in Detroit. It's not like it's chilly outside, right? 84 in Monroe, 83 in Ann Arbor right now, and Port Huron's at 82, but it is less humid, and that's really kind of pushed away the storm chances. If there's anything at all, it's probably closer to areas like Adrian, Coldwater this evening, but even those spots should stay dry, I think. 83 is an 8 o'clock temperature in Detroit here, and then 66 overnight. After 3 o'clock, the storm chances start to pick back up. Again, early and late options tomorrow. 87 in the middle of all that. We start to get some of the humidity back, and we'll go 92 Thursday. That feels like 96. The weekend, highs in the 70s and drying out on Saturday as we go, and Sunday is a dry day.
All right, Dave, thank you. We're going to go to breaking news now on Detroit's west side. A Detroit police officer involved in an accident. This is all happening on Oakman Boulevard and Dexter. That road is closed in that area.
Right now, there's no word yet on any injuries or what caused the crash. Of course, we will bring you more information as soon as it's available. President Trump pushing to eliminate the payroll tax.
Coming up next, why government leaders say that could be a huge risk to Social Security. And we're continuing to follow that breaking news on Detroit's west side. We now have live pictures that you are looking at of the scene, and you can see it's a pretty bad crash there. 3 vehicles involved from our vantage point from the sky. In that officer-involved accident, there's the cruiser dented with a tire out.
Yeah, and right now, Oakman Boulevard and Dexter are closed as this investigation is going on. Right now, we still don't have word of any injuries or what even caused this crash. Looks pretty bad there, as of course we will bring you more information as soon as it's available.
Social Security funds could be depleted within 3 years if the payroll tax is eliminated.
That's according to the Social Security Administration's chief actuary. 4 Democratic senators asked the agency to run the numbers after President Trump said he would get rid of payroll taxes if reelected. Now, only Congress could eliminate the tax, and there's little support for it in either party.
President Trump claims that eliminating the tax would have no impact on Social Security, though because the money would be shifted from the government's general fund. So we'll keep watch on that.
Keeping the music going. The new plan from the Detroit Symphony Orchestra to bring live music right into your living room and when the concerts are expected to begin.
Plus, tonight is round 2 of the Republican National Convention. Who's expected to speak and what Michigan Democrats are saying about last night's event.
All new at 5:30, Michigan's Department of Civil Rights naming a new director. The longtime Detroit officer selected for the job and why that has some civil rights leaders worried.
Preparing for round 2 of the RNC. The big name speaker is set to appear tonight and what political leaders in Michigan want to see.
New shortage.
Plenty of produce, but no lids. Things may be lidless, but it's not hopeless. Coming up, I'll tell you what's going on and how long you might have to wait to be able to preserve the produce you love.
Taking action for you. 7 Action News at 5:30 starts right now.
But first, an update to how a woman died while in police custody in Harper Woods. Thanks for staying with us. I'm Alan Campbell.
And I'm Glenda Lewis. The medical examiner says Priscilla Slater died of natural causes, a condition called cardiac dysrhythmia or irregular heartbeat. Slater died in a holding cell after being arrested in June. People have been calling for a criminal investigation. The city has already fired 2 members of the police force for allegedly concealing evidence in Slater's death. And new at 5:30, the person now heading Michigan's civil rights efforts just so happens to be a familiar name to many Detroiters.
Assistant Chief James White has had a lengthy career on the police force. 7 Action News reporter Simon Shaquette shows how civil rights leaders are responding to the move and why some are raising concerns.
After a 5-3 vote by a board of commissioners, Detroit Police Assistant Chief James White was picked to be the next director of the Michigan Department of Civil Rights, and it's a job he says he's ready to take on.
I want to look at institutionalizing for each agency standards as it relates to bias, implicit bias training. Also training as it relates to body cameras.
After searching for nearly a year and reviewing 7 candidates, the Michigan Department of Civil Rights has picked the second in command at Detroit Police as their new director. Assistant Chief James White, a veteran of the force, says his background has helped prepare him for this day.
We had 2 consent judgments. We were under consent judgment since 2003, one for uses of force, the other for conditions of confinement. We were able to get out of the consent judgments by implementing policy and practice and changing the behavior and the culture of the organization.
In the 6th precinct, White also helped with restructuring after an investigation exposed racism following the traffic stop of an African-American girl being mocked on Snapchat by white officers. Those officers were eventually fired.
No one wants a bad cop. In fact, no one dislikes a bad cop more than a good cop.
But in this civil rights community, we found some with mixed feelings. Detroit NAACP leader Reverend Dr. Wendell Anthony says there are major concerns about this selection and the direction being taken.
Obviously, there are going to be a whole lot of cases that's going to come. They got cases now that's going to come before them that's going to involve police departments all across this state. How do you deal with that? How do you have a hit the ground running when you ain't been running in civil rights?
Pastor Moe, a community leader who's been advocating for better relations between police and the community, also weighing in.
Because someone has been a cop don't mean they were a good cop, and it don't necessarily mean they're a bad cop. So it's not about the position, it's about the person.
White plans to retire from DPD and will report to the new job within 30 days. That is a cabinet position, and he will report to the governor. From downtown Detroit, Simon Shaquette, 7 Action News.
All right, Simon, thank you.